The rain hammered against the windows of Romano's, an upscale Italian restaurant in downtown Manhattan. Emma Chun wiped down the marble bar for the third time that evening, her reflection staring back at her from the polished surface. At 28, she had perfected the art of invisible service, the kind where wealthy patrons never really saw her face, just the drinks appearing and disappearing like magic. She tucked a strand of dark hair behind her ear and glanced at her phone. 7:47 p.m. Her best friend Rachel had been texting nonstop about the blind date she'd set up for tomorrow night. Emma had agreed only to stop the nagging, though the idea of dating made her stomach turn. Between her morning shift at the diner in Brooklyn and her evening shifts here in Midtown, romance felt like a luxury she couldn't afford. What Rachel didn't know, what nobody knew, was that Emma had just sold her tech startup 6 months ago. The app she'd built in her cramped studio apartment, working until 3 in the morning after her waitressing shifts, had caught the attention of a Silicon Valley giant. The acquisition was quiet, the kind that didn't make headlines. $22 million had landed in her account, and Emma hadn't changed a single thing about her life. She still lived in the same rent-controlled apartment in Sunset Park, still took the subway, still worked both jobs because the routine kept her grounded, kept her connected to the reality she'd known for 10 years since moving from San Francisco. Her parents had sacrificed everything to give her an education, and she wasn't about to become one of those people who forgot where they came from. Tomorrow is fine, she finally texted Rachel back. Where? Rachel's response was immediate. Lou Bernardine. 8 p.m. His name is Marcus. Investment banker. I showed him your pic and he said you're cute. Emma sighed. Lou Bernardine was one of the most expensive restaurants in the city, the kind of place where reservations required connections and deep pockets. She wondered if Marcus was trying to impress or just showing off. Hey, sweetheart. More wine over here. The voice cut through her thoughts. Table 7. She recognized the type before she even turned around. Mid-40s, expensive suit, Rolex catching the light, surrounded by 3 other men in similar uniforms of wealth. They'd been getting progressively louder with each bottle, their laughter carrying the edge of entitlement. Emma grabbed a fresh bottle of the Barolo they'd been drinking. $180 a bottle. She'd served for already. She approached with the practiced smile she'd perfected over years of service. You guys doing okay tonight? Oh, we're doing fantastic, the man said, his eyes sliding over her in a way that made her skin crawl. You single, honey? You got that exotic look going on. His friends snickered. Emma kept her expression neutral as she poured. Just here to make sure you have a great evening, she said smoothly. Come on, don't be like that. What's a pretty girl like you doing slinging drinks? You should be on somebody's arm at a place like this, not serving. Emma finished pouring and set the bottle down with practiced precision. Pays the bills. Enjoy your evening, gentlemen. As she walked away, she heard one of them mutter something about immigrant workers, followed by more laughter. She'd heard worse, much worse. The trick was to let it roll off, to remember that their rudeness said everything about them and nothing about her. Back at the bar, her manager Tony caught her eye. You good? Emma nodded. Always am. Tony had worked at Romano's for 15 years. He knew Emma was different from the other servers, knew she was sharper, more educated, though he didn't know the full story. Nobody did. She liked it that way. When you had money, people treated you differently, expected things from you, judged you by different standards. As a waitress, she was invisible, free. The rest of the shift passed in the familiar rhythm of service. Plates in, plates out. Drinks poured. Bills settled. Table 7 left without tipping, which didn't surprise her. Men like that rarely did. At midnight, Emma hung up her apron and grabbed her coat. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets slick and reflecting the neon signs of Manhattan. She walked to the subway, earbuds in, thinking about tomorrow's blind date. Maybe it would be nice, she thought. Maybe Marcus would be different. Maybe she could just be herself for one evening. Let someone see beyond the uniform and the smile and the practiced deference. Or maybe it would be another reminder of why she kept her 2 worlds so carefully separated. The train rattled through the tunnel toward Brooklyn, and Emma closed her eyes, letting the familiar motion rock her toward home. Emma stood outside Lou Bernardine at exactly 8 o'clock, wearing the one designer dress she owned, a simple black Armani she'd bought for a tech conference years ago. Her hair was down, makeup subtle but polished. She looked nothing like the waitress from Romano's. Rachel had sent her a photo of Marcus earlier. Blonde hair styled perfectly, sharp jawline, that confident smile wealthy men wore like armor. He was already inside, Rachel texted. Table by the window. Emma walked through the revolving door into the warm amber lighting of one of New York's most prestigious restaurants. The hostess greeted her with practiced elegance. "I'm meeting someone. Marcus Ashford?" "Right this way, miss." Marcus stood as she approached, and for a moment, Emma thought maybe this would be fine. He was handsome, well-dressed in a navy suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. His smile seemed genuine. "Emma, right? You look even better than your picture." They shook hands. His grip was firm, almost aggressive. "Thanks for meeting me here," he said as they sat. "I know it's a bit much for a first date, but I believe in making an impression." "It's beautiful," Emma said, glancing around at the impeccable decor. The waiter appeared immediately. Marcus ordered a bottle of Chassagne without asking Emma's preference. For $100, she noted automatically. "Old habits. So Rachel tells me you two go way back," Marcus said, leaning forward. "College roommates?" "That's right. NYU. We survived many ramen dinners together." Marcus laughed, but it sounded rehearsed. "NYU. Good school. I did my MBA at Wharton." "What did you study?" "Computer science." "Oh?" His eyebrows rose slightly. "And what do you do now?" Here it was, the question she'd been dreading. Emma took a breath. "I work in food service. I'm a waitress, actually." The change in Marcus's expression was instant. His smile froze, then faded. He leaned back in his chair, creating distance between them. "A waitress?" It wasn't a question. It was a verdict. "Yes. I work at a couple places in the city." Marcus picked up his wine glass, studying her over the rim. "Rachel didn't mention that part." "It's honest work," Emma said evenly. "Oh, I'm sure it is. He set down his glass with a soft clink. "I have to be honest with you, Emma. I'm at a point in my life where I'm looking for someone on a certain level, you know? Someone who moves in the same circles, understands the lifestyle. Investment banking is demanding. I need a partner who gets that world." Emma felt heat rising in her chest, but she kept her voice calm. "I understand more than you think." "Do you, though?" Marcus leaned forward again, his tone patronizing now. "Look, you seem nice. Really. But a waitress? Seriously? I mean, what would I tell my colleagues? My family? They expect me to date someone with ambition, career, not someone serving drinks." The words landed like slaps. Emma had heard variations of this before, but never so directly, never while sitting across from someone who was supposed to be getting to know her. "I have ambition," she said quietly. Marcus waved his hand dismissively. "I'm sure you do. But let's be realistic here." Emma felt something shift inside her. Not anger exactly. Something colder, sharper. She'd spent years enduring condescension from people like Marcus, smiling through it because that's what the job required. But she wasn't working right now, and she was done playing small. "You know what, Marcus? You're absolutely right." His eyebrows lifted in surprise. "I am? Yes. We should be realistic." Emma signaled to their waiter, who appeared instantly. "Excuse me, could you bring the manager, please?" The waiter nodded and disappeared. Marcus looked confused. "What are you doing?" "Being realistic," Emma said calmly. Within moments, Pierre, the restaurant's general manager, appeared at their table. His eyes flickered with recognition when he saw Emma, though he maintained professional neutrality. "Good evening. How may I assist you?" Emma smiled warmly. "Pierre, lovely to see you again. I was wondering if you could do me a favor. I'd like to cover every table in the restaurant tonight. Everyone's bill. The full amount, including the wine cellar selections." Marcus's face went pale. Pierre's expression remained perfectly composed, though Emma caught the slightest twitch of amusement at the corner of his mouth. "Of course, Miss Chun. It would be our pleasure. Shall I put it on your usual account?" "That would be perfect, thank you." Pierre gave a slight bow and walked away. The surrounding tables had started to notice the commotion, whispers spreading like wildfire through the dining room. Marcus stared at her, mouth opening and closing like a fish. What just happened? Emma picked up her wine glass, taking a slow sip. Let me help you understand, Marcus. That computer science degree you dismissed? I used it to build an app. A platform that connects freelance workers with flexible scheduling opportunities. I sold it 6 months ago for $22 million. The color drained completely from Marcus's face. I kept working as a waitress because it keeps me grounded. Because I never want to forget what it feels like to be invisible to people like you. Because the woman who serves your drinks is just as valuable as the one sitting across from you in a designer dress. Marcus tried to speak, but no words came out. If you're wondering what you would have told your colleagues or your family, Emma continued, her voice steady but cutting, you could have told them you were dating an entrepreneur. A self-made millionaire. Someone who understands both sides of the service industry because she's lived them both. She stood up, placing her napkin on the table with deliberate care. If you're rooting for people who stay true to themselves no matter what others think, take a moment right now and remember that your worth isn't defined by someone else's narrow view. The best is yet to come. Emma picked up her purse and looked down at Marcus one final time. Enjoy your dinner, Marcus. It's on me. All of it. Consider it a lesson in not judging a book by its cover. Emma walked out of Le Bernardin into the cool Manhattan night, her heart pounding not with anger but with liberation. Behind her, she could hear the murmur of excited diners realizing their meals had been covered, the clinking of glasses in spontaneous celebration. She'd just spent roughly $40,000 in a single gesture, and it felt absolutely right. Her phone buzzed immediately. Rachel. Emma, what did you do? Marcus just called me freaking out. Emma smiled and typed back. Told him the truth. All of it. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. Wait, you told him about the sale? Yes. Girl, I'm coming over. Do not move. Emma laughed and hailed a cab. But instead of heading home, she gave the driver an address in Brooklyn. Romano's. Her other world was calling. When she arrived, still in her black dress, Tony's eyes widened from behind the bar. Emma, what are you doing here? And why do you look like you just walked out of the Met Gala? Long story. Is it busy? Packed. Friday night rush. We're short-staffed too. Jenny called in sick. Emma kicked off her heels and walked behind the bar, grabbing an apron. Where do you need me? Tony stared at her like she'd grown a second head. Emma, you're wearing what looks like a $2,000 dress. $3,000, actually, and it's just fabric. Come on. Where do you need me? For the next 3 hours, Emma worked the floor of Romano's in her Armani dress and bare feet, carrying trays of pasta and pouring wine, like she hadn't just caused a scene at one of Manhattan's finest establishments. The regulars did double takes. The kitchen staff whistled and cheered. But Emma had never felt more herself. Around 11, Table 7 from the previous night walked in. The same group of loud, entitled businessmen. Emma recognized the ringleader immediately, the one who'd made the comment about immigrant workers. She approached their table with a genuine smile. Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome back to Romano's. The man looked up, squinting. Wait, weren't you here last night? I was, and I'm here tonight. What can I get you started with? He leaned back, that familiar smirk appearing. You really love this job, huh? Can't get enough of serving people? Emma set down the menus with deliberate care. Actually, I do love it. It taught me that character isn't measured by what you do for a living, but by how you treat people regardless of theirs. Now, would you like to hear the specials? Or do you need a moment? The man's smirk faded. His friends shifted uncomfortably. We'll need a moment. Take your time, Emma said warmly and walked away. Tony caught her at the bar, shaking his head in amazement. Emma Chin, who are you really? She grinned. Just someone who knows her worth, Tony. Finally knows her worth. The story of what happened at Le Bernardin spread through New York's restaurant scene like wildfire. By Monday morning, Emma's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Food bloggers wanted interviews. The New York Times dining section left 3 voicemails. Someone had filmed the moment she announced she was paying for everyone's dinner, and the video had gone viral with over 2 million views. But the call that mattered most came Tuesday afternoon. "Miss Chen, this is Pierre from Lou Bernardin. Monsieur Reipert would like to speak with you, if you have a moment." Emma's breath caught. Eric Reipert, the legendary chef and owner, one of the most respected figures in culinary world. Of course. A moment later, a warm, accented voice came on the line. "Miss Chen, I wanted to personally thank you for what you did Friday night. But more than that, I wanted to talk to you about something. I've been thinking about opening a foundation, something to help service workers get education, start businesses, transition into new careers. When I heard your story, I thought perhaps you might want to be involved." Emma felt tears prick her eyes. She'd been thinking about exactly this, about what to do with her wealth that actually meant something. "I would be honored," she said. They talked for an hour. About scholarships for restaurant workers. About microloans for immigrant entrepreneurs. About changing the way society viewed service work. By the end of the call, Emma had committed $2 million to launch the foundation, and Eric had committed his name and network. That evening, Emma returned to Romano's for her shift. When she walked in, the entire staff was waiting, and they erupted in applause. Tony had printed out the viral video and taped it behind the bar. Someone had made a banner that read, "Our millionaire waitress." Emma laughed and cried at the same time. "You guys are ridiculous." "You're ridiculous," Tony said, pulling her into a hug. "Working here when you could be on a beach somewhere." "This is where I want to be," Emma said. "These are my people." But things had changed subtly and powerfully. The businessmen at Table 7 had left a $300 tip their next visit, along with a note of apology. Regular customers started asking Emma's opinion not just about wine, but about business, about life, about taking risks. She'd become visible finally, but on her own terms. Rachel showed up near closing time, sliding onto a bar stool. "So, my matchmaking days are over, huh?" Emma poured her a glass of Pinot Grigio. "Maybe not. Just be more careful about the quality of man you're setting me up with. Deal?" Rachel raised her glass. "To knowing your worth. To never forgetting where you came from," Emma added. They clinked glasses as the last customers filtered out into the New York night, and Emma felt something she hadn't felt in years. Complete peace. She was exactly where she was supposed to be, doing exactly what she was meant to do, on nobody's terms but her own. 18 months later, Emma stood on a small stage in a renovated warehouse in Queens. Behind her, a banner read, "The Reipert Foundation, First Annual Scholarship Ceremony." 250 people filled the space, former servers, cooks, dishwashers, bartenders, all dressed in their finest, all holding acceptance letters to culinary schools, business programs, and trade certifications. Emma had kept both her jobs at Romano's and the diner in Brooklyn, though now she only worked 3 days a week. The rest of her time went to the foundation, which had grown beyond anything she'd imagined. They'd helped over 1,000 service workers in the past year alone. Career counseling, educational grants, small business loans, even a program that matched experienced servers with mentorship opportunities in corporate hospitality. Eric Reipert stood beside her, beaming with pride. "When I met Emma," he told the crowd, "I saw someone who understood that true wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the lives we touch and the dignity we restore." She could have walked away from this world entirely, but instead, she chose to lift it up. The applause was thunderous. Emma blinked back tears as she saw Tony in the third row, surrounded by the entire Romano's staff. They'd all taken the day off to support her. After the ceremony, as Emma mingled with scholarship recipients, a young woman approached her nervously. "Miss Chen, my name is Sophia. I just wanted to say thank you. I've been a waitress for 7 years, and everyone told me I was wasting my potential. Your story made me realize I wasn't wasting anything. I was learning, and now, because of this scholarship, I'm starting culinary school next month." Emma hugged her tightly. "You're going to do amazing things, Sophia. Never let anyone make you feel small for honest work." As the evening wound down, Emma's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Hi Emma, this is Marcus. I know I have no right to reach out, but I saw the article about the foundation in the Times. What you're doing is incredible. I've been doing a lot of thinking since that night. I volunteer now at a soup kitchen in the Bronx. I'm trying to be better. I'm sorry for how I treated you. You deserved so much more respect. Emma stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back. I appreciate the apology, Marcus. I'm glad you're finding your way. We all deserve the chance to grow. She slipped her phone away and looked around the room at the faces of people who'd been invisible for too long, who were now being seen, celebrated, invested in. This was worth more than any acquisition, any bank account, any validation from people who measured worth by job titles. Rachel appeared at her elbow, champagne in hand. So, best friend, how does it feel to change the world? Emma smiled, watching Sophia laugh with a group of new friends, all of them holding their scholarship certificates like golden tickets to new futures. Feels like coming home. And in that moment, surrounded by her people, in the world she'd never really left, Emma Chun knew she'd finally found what she'd been searching for all along. Not success, not recognition, but purpose. And that made all the difference. Thank you so much for staying until the end of this story. If Emma's journey touched your heart, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment about what spoke to you most, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories about people who refuse to let others define their worth. What kind of story would you like to see next? Drop your suggestions below. Your support means everything, and I'll see you in the next one.